The 15-Point Plan is part of the Win, Make, Give podcast network.
Hello, everyone. Welcome again to another episode of the 15-Point Plan podcast. I'm here with my co-host, Greigg. My name's Jacqueline Smith, for those of you who don't know me. This podcast is dedicated to talking all about the system that we call the 15-Point Plan. It's really an energy management or a stress management system. We like to say that it helps us become extraordinary. Systems take the ordinary and make them extraordinary. And they help us increase our capacity, have more fulfillment, and just be happier overall. So last time we talked about goals, which is one of the points on the 15-Point Plan. And today we want to talk more about goals. It's something that we haven't really dove into in a while, and it's on our minds because for a lot of us in business, we just finished Q1, we're into Q2 now, and it's just kind of top of mind right now. So today we want to talk about it from a slightly different angle than last time. Ryan and I, were talking about what our goals do for us in terms of who we become in the process, but not only who we become in the process, but who we actually end up getting into a relationship with that we may not otherwise because of our goals. And then also in terms of the opportunities that our goals bring into our world as well. So the people and the opportunities that come in pursuit of our goals. Ryan, what would you add?
Oh, absolutely, Jacqueline. We thought that it would be good to expand on this because we know that when you set a goal, the goal is cool to achieve, but really it's all about the person you got to become along the way. And as I was thinking more about that this last week, not only is it about the person that you have to become along the way in order to reach that goal, but I've learned it's also really a goal is a great vehicle to find the people you need in your life. Otherwise, maybe the influences, which is a point from the 15-Point Plan. A goal is a great way to, now you have this vehicle to become the person you needed to become, but you got to fill up the seats on that vehicle. And now you've got this really cool goal. And as you're trying to do all these things you've never done before, you're going to meet people along the way. And that's a really, really great byproduct of having these crazy goals is the people that you're going to meet along the way. And I love the quote, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And how many times have we looked at that in our life and we've thought, gosh, I know this person, or I've met this person, or I've talked with this person, but we never really connected. But then you do something in your life and now you have this person and now you have this cool connection because you've got this goal. I mean, a simple example would be 10, 12 years ago, both Jacqueline and I got into real estate. We just had these goals of probably something simple like, I just want to not be broke. I want to sell a couple houses. I want to provide for my family. And we just made this goal and we got into real estate. But then what that meant was not much longer later, because we got into real estate, because we started to get some results, someone like Ben popped into our life. And Ben popped into our life. Well, and then Jacqueline popped into our life. And now here I am recording a podcast that impacts millions of people that never would have happened had I not had that goal of simply selling real estate. But because I did that, it connected me with Ben and Jacqueline, and they connected me with Jacqueline, and here I am years later. And so asking ourselves, we set this goal, who are the people that we're going to meet along the way? Not only who am I going to become, but who are the people that we're going to meet along the way? And I wanted to plant that seed because I really believe that when we have these goals and these crazy visions, people will pop into our life. But if we're not looking for them, they might just walk right by us.
Yeah, it's so true. I think about all of the incredible people that are in my life now. Yeah, like you were saying, that wouldn't be here if I'd never got into real estate. And even how I got into real estate was, Phil and I starting a business working on foreclosures, which was like super nasty, FYI. Like when we first started that business, we were it. Like we were the landscapers, the cleaners, the trash out people, and the repair people, and so we were literally like physically cleaning these nasty houses ourselves. And I remember just thinking like, this is horrible. and and my husband was so encouraging and just kept me like focused on where it was going to lead us to. And like you said, it led us to meeting real estate agents, which then planted a seed in my husband's mind, like, Jacqueline, you should do this. I took a while to listen to him, like every good wife does. um, and eventually I did it. But I never would have done that had we not started that business. And so it's true that it leads you to relationships that then also lead to opportunities that we wouldn't have if we were just, I don't know, complacent and staying in the same spot.
Yeah, and I like this idea of almost earning the right to be in relationship with people that either at the level we want to be, or a higher level than we ever imagined ourselves at. It's like when I wanted to climb Mount Kilimanjaro, I thought about that a long time ago, and I thought to myself, like, I am nowhere near fit enough to be able to do something like that. There's no way I can get up to 19,000 feet. And
Mm-hmm.
then years went by, and I trained my body, and I trained my body not just because of that, but for other reasons. And then I realized somebody invited me to not only climb this mountain, but to do a Guinness World Record attempt of this mountain. And I thought back on that the other day, and I thought, dang, like, what did they see in me that
Yeah.
they thought, well, Ryan would be a good candidate to potentially do this world record? And now that person's in my life forever. Not only that, but 26 other amazing individuals are in my life forever. We've built a relationship. I can lean on them. They can lean on me. Just this morning, I woke up to guess what, Jacqueline? Do I want to go climb the tallest mountain in North Africa, in
Okay.
Morocco? There's a world record attempt coming up in November. Do I want to go do that? I don't know. I didn't even think about it. But the fact I'm on that invite list now
Right.
is really cool to me. So asking ourselves, what can we do in our life, in our health, in our business, in our spirituality? What are some goals that we can set that are going to put us in the place of the people that are going to help us become that person?
Mm-hmm.
I
Speaking
went
of,
for a
oh, I was just going to ask you about this. I don't know what you're about to say. I was just going to ask you about a walk that you had recently.
exactly. So I went for a walk this morning with a really, really incredible individual. His name is Chris Heller. If you're in the real estate world, you've definitely heard of Chris Heller. He's been selling real estate and in the real estate space for a few decades. And I had a really great opportunity. And this is actually another lesson, Jacqueline, was when somebody that you look up to offers you something like this, where they say, hey, like, you should connect with this person, don't take that lightly. And when that person says, oh, I'll be available at this time, I don't care if it's 6 a.m. or 6 p.m. or midnight or 4 a.m. If that
Mhm.
person that you look up to that's done the things that you want to do offers you something, take them up on it. So I got to go for a walk. And one of the things that he said that just really stood out to me this morning was he's always worked super hard just to be one of the best at what he does, to get outstanding results in whatever he does, because he knew that if he did that, other opportunities would open up.
Hmm.
Now, that meant as simple as, well, I started selling real estate and I became the top agent in my area and the top agent in our market and the top agent in the country. And then other opportunities opened up. Now, what I thought was interesting was he didn't do that so that those opportunities opened up.
Yeah.
He just knew that when he did that, the opportunities and the possibilities would start to present themselves. And then he could pick and choose because he had so much leverage because he got such outstanding results. So, how could that apply to our listeners' life? Well, are you getting outstanding results in something in your life so that when those opportunities pop up on somebody else's world, they think, you know what, gosh, Jacqueline would be the perfect fit for that, right? Like Jacqueline, I've seen her. She's been doing great. She spoke at this event. We should have her speak, right? And so that just happened with you, didn't it?
Yeah. I'm going to speak at an event in California, and it was an invite from someone who was facilitating the panel that I was on in at Keller Williams Family Reunion in Atlanta. So same idea, your journey starts opening up and opening up. The cool thing I kind of want to go back to though about Chris Heller, because if anyone is in the real estate space, they're probably super jealous in a good way, not in a bad way, that you were going for a walk with Chris Heller. So now I'm going to like put this out there that you have to get him on our podcast. So
Oh, that'd be cool.
since he's like your buddy, now that you guys are BFFs. And so, but you know, I don't know Chris Heller very well, but one thing I do know of him is that he's kind of known, at least in our world, for being a phenomenal at lead generating. And I remember being on a call with him recently, and he was talking about how like he never missed lead generation. And I think about how we all want like the outstanding results that he talked about. We all want the opportunities, we want those relationships, we want the kind of like cool, extravagant, outstanding things. But he created those extravagant results or those outstanding results by doing really, I guess, like is unextravagant, really boring, simple, unextravagant things every single day. And so, like, the simplest things repeated over time are usually what lead to outstanding results. But we want it to be like this exciting, outstanding, extravagant kind of like journey, when really it's usually the opposite of that. But then what people see, the result, is outstanding.
Yeah. And, I think real estate and what he talked about, or what he did, I should say, is a fantastic example of simple but not easy. And our partner, Ben, says success equals doing your priorities in the right order.
Mm-hmm.
What I've learned a lot is to find a high level of success in the real estate world, and probably whatever world you're in, there's not that many things you should be doing. And back to Chris Heller, he prospected, meaning he was on the phones. He was trying to find sellers. He was trying to find people that wanted to sell, specifically real estate.
Mm-hmm.
And he did that for a couple hours every single day. So even if you're not in the real estate world, you got to ask yourself, what are my 1 to maybe 3 at the most priorities that I should be doing, and that I should be doing with the most amount of energy, and that I should be doing the most frequently? In other words, what should I be waking up and probably doing some of the 15-point plan, getting hydrated, eating a little bit of food, moving my body, getting some inspiration through influences or meditation or journaling? And then what's the thing that's going to move the needle in my business? And I'm going to do that, and I'm only going to do that. Or maybe 1 or 2 other priorities for the next couple of hours. And I'm going to do that Monday through Friday, or fill in the blank, but I'm going to do that X amount of days for X amount of years. And the other things can just wait. He got ultra purposeful with just simply prospecting, finding sellers, doing that a couple times a day, and leaving it at that.
It all comes down to the simple things. And that's what, like, bringing it all back to the 15-point plan, like these things are really simple things. Drinking water, hydrating, looking at your goals, having a relationship with your goals every day, journaling. Like, these things are not difficult. They're not like brain surgery or climbing a mountain. They are very simple daily habits. And the simple daily habits repeated over time is what brings you those results. And then those results bring you new opportunities. Like, if you don't have the energy, right, to pursue your goals, like you said, with good energy, right, then you're not going to create outstanding results. You're not going to create those relationships that you desire and the next opportunities. So we've got to start with our energy, because I really think everything flows from there.
Absolutely. We got to create that energy. We got to hold on to that energy. We got to know what gives us energy, what takes energy from us, remove those things as much as possible that take energy from us, and keep working with that. And then find the people in your world that are going to help you become the person you want to become. And then ask yourself, what can I do for this person? How can I give value to this person? What can I do to give back for this person? And the last thing I'll leave you with is, think about the questions you're going to ask them, and maybe try to ask them some things that not everybody's asked them. Like, for example, when I went for a walk with Chris, I wanted to know things about business, but I thought, you know what? He's probably been asked this question a million times about, oh, how should I prospect or how should I? So I just pivoted. We got into family stuff. We got into other things. Ask yourself, what's a question that nobody's ever asked me that I would love to really talk about? And then put yourself in that person's shoes and try to find some other questions and ask them some questions that'll get them thinking, that'll get them excited, and that'll make them walk away going, that was a really cool conversation with Jacqueline. I really enjoyed that.
I love that. So good. All right. So that's goals and where they can lead you, the relationships, the opportunities. And again, it's usually from the simple things, daily things, right, that lead to those outstanding results, that lead us to outstanding relationships and opportunities in our life. I love that concept. It was a good reminder to look back and see all of the amazing people like you, Ryan, and different people in place that I know, my team. We're so blessed with so many amazing people in our world. And I think that that's really cool to tie it back to. Yeah, that's because we went after something. Like we set a goal that was uncomfortable and executed on it. And you just never know where it's going to lead you.
Yeah, have an open mind with all this. Have an open mind. So when you do things like fly down to California to speak on these panels, who knows? Maybe the person you sit next to on that plane, maybe the person that's on that panel with you, maybe the person that's in the crowd that walks by and says, oh my gosh, I loved what you had to say there. Can I take a picture with you? That could be your next mentor. That could be your next business partner. Who knows? Have an open mind while you're doing all of these things. And it's pretty incredible to see what can happen when you do that. So don't forget to listen to all previous episodes of the 15-Point Plan. You can find them at wouldmakegive.com, as well as all of the other podcasts within our podcast network. And as always, you can find both Jacqueline and myself on social media, Jacqueline Ray Smith and Ryan Park Greigg. We thank you for listening, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Bye, everyone.